is a data coach, one is a capacity builder and change agent, and then just a critical improvement leader. And as you look at how sort of shaped out, and then your ILs go to IL meetings, they bring you back content information, and they're the instructional person in that specific content. So there is kind of a hierarchy there. So those are some of the things, and I'll put this PowerPoint in the share drive if you really want to look at it, but what they sent me I didn't care for, so I did my own. So as an instructional specialist, they model the effective use of the CAP. That's primarily what we're focusing on this year. This concept-based instruction, the CAP document, what's the best way to increase student achievement and give instructional strategies that work with that CAP document. They co-plan and co-teach. They're supposed to model strategies and techniques that ensure rigorous core instruction. And they help support planning and implementation of progress monitoring, RTI, and tools that will help with your instruction. So around that whole instructional specialist is what that role looks like. Any questions on that one? Okay, they're a data coach. Facilitate and support the data decision-making model. How do you use the data? More than just looking at the data, how do you use the data? Supports the administration analysis of the assessments, whether that be acuity, CSAP, classroom, whatever. And then supports teachers' understandings of as the standards change, as CAP has changed, how to use the data to support kids with the IEPs, ALPs, ILPs. Then they help teachers to act on their data. So now that you've seen the data, that's why you have that monthly data meeting. We're looking at the data, what are we doing with the data? The third CAT is capacity builder and change agent. Their work to develop relationships with adults. As all these initiatives come down the pipe, people have to change. The days of going into your room and shutting the door and doing whatever you want to do are long gone. And so by trying to build relationships and trust and bring in some new things that'll help people feel comfortable to go ahead and make some of those changes, or at least try, at least take the risk. They plan for high quality professional development and facilitate teacher collaboration. So when you think about, it's a challenge to say, okay, I'm going to sit down and plan with this person. They may be not even teaching the same thing, but the concept is there. Maybe it's in English, you're teaching different grade levels, or math, and you're teaching different parts of math, but the concepts are still there, and everybody in that group, that planning group, that PLC, whatever you want to call it, is an expert in that area. So just because you're not teaching 8th grade social studies right now, and you're teaching 7th grade or 9th grade, you are an expert in that area, and you can, two heads are better than one kind of thing. And they work on the induction process and provide feedback to teachers around as we go through this change process, because we really are in an era of reform. And they work on district and school improvement. So the UIP, I sent you guys an email that said we're in the second category. The improvement category, we're good to go on the UIP right now, but we have to do that every year. So bringing that together, we'll work with department managers, ILs on that. They are the conduit and sense maker between the instructional initiatives, what we're talking about, and the day-to-day work. Because there's a big jump there. There's a lot of mandates that we're expected to do, and they seem way over here, and those people who are making them over here are not where you're sitting, so it's really that, trying to connect that piece. They're the key communicator, and probably one of the things that we really have struggled with is parent and community involvement. And that's one of the things that Nancy's going to work on is how do you pull, when she sat down with the parents at back to school night with the CSAP results, how do you help make sense for the parents? So that's really not much to do, but on all those roles, and just so you kind of understand what the coach's role is in the school. Any thoughts or questions about that? Okay, Nancy.
All right.
You don't need this.
No, I don't need this.
You do? You're doing good?
Okay. So, Jean.
That needs to go back on.
One or two? You've done it more.
It'll take a second.
It'll be 2.
It'll be 2.
It won't switch to it.
Oh, till it's on. Quit messing me up, Carter.
It will
Well, she's
be
right.
two.
She's right. She's right in the future and in the present.
So our agenda today is really kicking into, this was a staff development and working and planning with the templates that we had originally thought we might be doing early, even August or early September. So we're kind of playing catch up with all of this now. And
It's coming.
it's coming, all right. So I'm just gonna start with our agenda then, and then as it comes up, you'll see what I am talking about, all right? Okay, here we go. All right. So the purpose for our planning together today in content teams is to deepen our understanding. You all already have been doing some planning with the planning templates and talking about the concepts, what the big ideas are. The purpose of today is deepen our understanding and our work with that in content teams. And really to focus on that stage one, moving into stage two. So the other piece is to enter into those collaborative conversations that Lisa was referring to
Keep going.
With the,
as far as. Can you see that? Is that clear?
Press that orange button.
First,
in
you
the
push
bottom.
the mute button in the middle, it works better. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Great, okay. So our purpose, as I spoke about, was to deepen our understanding of using the planning templates in the CAP and enter into those collaborative conversations with your content teams and engage in the planning process to really get that started for your next unit of study. You know, when I gave out, when I did the survey to find out where you all were at, the results that came back were somewhat in the middle. Everyone's in that progress stage of understanding how to connect the big ideas, the overarching concepts, the overarching essential questions, how to tie those together. So you're going to have an opportunity to get together in your content teams to do that, all right? The other piece that came back as a result of the survey was that the majority of you, with the exception of one, said that you rarely to sometimes actually have an opportunity or engage in those planning conversations with your content team. So today, we've carved out that time, set it aside specifically for that purpose, for you all to work together. So the outcomes for today are to determine what those desired results are that you're looking for in your next unit of study, all right, what your goal is, all right, and use the graphic organizer process for unpacking to move through those templates, all right, and to understand it. This is a recommended protocol that we used at the Principals Institute, actually, to help us. I've modified it for us today because you've already been engaging in some of that, and we don't need all of that, so it's modified. And then the next part is to determine what the concepts are that you're going to be assessed, and perhaps even start to think about as you're moving through your conceptual planning in the stage one, is to start thinking about what the performance task might look like that you would assess whether the kids are mastering or getting that learning. Okay. Are there any questions about that? Okay. All right. So the rationale for content team planning, just very quickly, a lot of people have actually expressed, you know, why are we doing this together if we're not teaching the same class? And really, you all in your content team, you're experts in your discipline. So you all can come together regardless of the class that you're teaching. You all can share your ideas. And the purpose is, there's too much work to do now. You know, it's too much for one person. And we all need each other to get all of this work done. And when you have several people who are thinking and brainstorming, you're catalysts for each other's thinking. And so whole new ideas and creations can come out of your individual heads for a great group idea. All right? So the planning protocol then that we're going to be using today, and these conversations are going to be facilitated by language arts and social studies will kind of be combined. Chris is going to facilitate those conversations for us. Jackie's going to facilitate the science team's conversations. And Lisa Moore will be facilitating the conversations for the elective teams, all right? So basically what I asked you to do before coming together today was to run off a copy of your next unit, read through it, become familiar with what your new concepts were, what the big ideas were, take note of the vocabulary, see if you had any questions immediately that you wanted to bring to your content team. That's the first part. The next part is entering into that collaborative conversation. And there is a graphic organizer that you will be using to take a look at what those big ideas are, and your facilitators will be facilitating these conversations. And going through those big ideas, the organizing concepts and essential questions on page 1, and asking you to think about how are they connected, all right? And then we'll move on to the organizing concepts. How are those organizing concepts and essential questions related to those big ideas on the first page? And finally, what we're going to do is start, the last part is start brainstorming your questions, your ideas for how you want to assess what your desired results are from the learning of that new concept that you're working with the kids. Now I know, and I realize probably all of you have noticed, that under each unit there are anywhere from 2 to 3 or possibly even 4 organizing concepts. Today you're just going to focus on one to develop, all right? That's it. So it's going to be very targeted, all right? Then we're going to close this conversation with just a debriefing of the process, how it worked for you. Okay? Do you have any questions about what we're doing, or? No? It looks pretty clear. All right. So this is what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask the Chris's group, Language Arts and Social Studies, to please kind of gather. You're already sort of gathered yourselves over here in this corner. So I'm going to ask you to pull your desks together over here to do your planning. If you did not pick up a planning protocol, I think it would be helpful for you all to have a planning protocol. And the graphic organizer for taking a look at it, they're over on the table, so please help yourselves to go over and get one. Let's see. Electives, how about if you meet in that back corner with Lisa Moore over there? And then science, Jackie, you can just pull your desk kind of around Jackie over here, please. All right? And we will have a total of 30 minutes for this part. All right?
Mom.